The number one thing, I mean, probably I'd say is lead by example. I'm not one of those managers or team leaders that sits in the office and sends their guy out for hours in the cold or hours in the heat and stuff like that when I'm sitting there just at the office. So one thing that I do, if it's freezing cold and my guys are out for 8 hours, I'm out for 8 hours. If they're out in the hot and the heat, 100 degrees for 8 hours, I'm out for 8 hours as well. So I try to lead by example and stay in the trenches with my guys.
You knock on the door, Tristan, and they're like, "Oh, pest control? Yeah, I've already got that. Talk me through some of the things for transition, right? Or like switching."
Yeah, so number one, I want to know who they have to try to create some separation between what I'm doing and what I can provide and what their company can provide. So, really no matter what, when somebody opens the door and they're not interested, my first response is, okay, what are you guys doing for the pest control now? Who do you guys have taking care of the pest control now? And I want to figure that out, and then I would immediately figure out who they have, and I would be able to, like I said, I would be able to create that separation to figure out, what we can provide for them that they're not currently getting. Well, it's kind of odd because, like, for me, it just kind of depends on the scenario. Like, Does that make sense? Like what they said beforehand. Like, the spousal objection is always tough because it's like, oh, I'm going to ask, well, is that something they would be interested in for me to stop back by, or can I get their phone number? Or if they were interested in the conversation up to that point, maybe I would just say, hey, well, let's call them real quick. Let's give them a call, and figure out if this is something we could do. Because I've had plenty of people, I've had the wife call on the spot, and the husband's like, yeah, let's do it, and as easy as that, got it taken care of. Gotcha. Is it mainly the pricing or the process that's holding you back?
The pricing.
Pricing, gotcha. What are you guys paying for the pest control now?
$60.
$60, okay. And that makes sense. They're probably doing more of just a basic pest control for you guys. I'm doing more of a premium service. That's why a lot of your neighbors upgraded to me. So why don't I do this, and then I'll figure out where I can drop the price at that point. You can definitely have my card. I want to leave you with one anyway, but the reason I'm stopping by is I'm going to be out here on Wednesday. I've only got 2 spots left on my route. So if I can squeeze you guys in, I'm doing everything for about 70% off. So one of the most common objections I think we face down here, because we're in a very saturated market. So one thing that we deal with a lot is, yeah, you guys already stopped by, or you're like the 5th person that's stopped by. So, one thing I try to recommend is, obviously, if they do say, I'm the 4th, 5th, 6th person that stopped by, well, why didn't you sign up with those guys? What was your reasoning behind it? Were they just too expensive? Were you not okay with what their product was, or whatever? What was your hesitation for signing up with that company? So one thing you got to be able to live with here in the door-to-door industry is the guarantees. As a rookie and a new guy, and I've said this in a podcast before, when you knock on these doors, the people, most cases, are going to be uninterested right from the rip, and you have to be able and be ready to deal and live with the fact that these people aren't interested to begin with, and your job is to look for the people who are the 10%, which there's a rule in sales that 90% of the people you talk to are going to tell you no. So we don't know who the 10% are. If we did, we would be really rich, and we would just go to every neighborhood and figure out exactly who those 10% were, and we'd sell them and get out of the neighborhood. But our job is to navigate through the neighborhood and find those people and really go hard on those people to way that way we're not missing out on sales. And you got to keep your headspace correct, because it could be the last 10 doors, it could be the last 3 doors, it could be the last door, it could be the first 5 doors, but that 10%, you've just got to be ready for it at all times. So if you're not in a good headspace and a good mindset, you're not going to be able to, this job just is not going to work out for you. So as a rookie, and even somebody who's been doing this for several years, you got to live with the guarantee that nobody you're talking to is initially going to be interested. It's your job to get and gain that interest, and it's doors and people. That's the job that we're in. So you see these doors, you see these people, and I'm not concerned about what type of house they live in. I'm not concerned about the cars in the driveway. I'm not concerned about anything other than the fact that if you put a door in front of me and a person behind it, I'm going to be able to go out and I'm going to be able to have a good sales day, a good year. I have the ability to make whatever I want to make at that point. Yeah, so one of the biggest reasons our customer retention is so high is, this is our full-time job. This is what we do all day long, every day throughout the year. So we're gaining a lot of these other salespeople from different companies and different marketing companies. They come here for the summer and then they're in a different spot next year, in a different company next year. So, my goal when I go out each day is to gain a customer, not a sale. I'm not chasing big checks. I'm chasing legacy in a sense, and also just building a dynasty in our company and an empire that, we're the best company in our area, because this is where I plan on, this is a career for me. This isn't a summer job or a job to pay for college. This is something that I support my family on, and it's a long-term thing for me. It's kind of like a 60-40 on the service side, which is like your technicians and how they treat, and it's mostly on the salesperson not to overpromise, because the one thing that we get into a lot with salespeople is they'll overpromise and we underdeliver. And it's not the fact that we don't offer those services, it's the fact that the salesperson is not adequately explaining exactly what this customer is going to be getting. So in a sense, we don't want to become a sales prostitute where if a customer says, do you do this? Do you do that? Fear of losing the sale, sales guys will go, oh, we absolutely do that, just to get their name on the line. But you got to be upfront and honest with the customer, be transparent and confident in whatever you say. So I'm not a big price dropper. If somebody says, oh, well, they're doing it cheaper, my initial approach is not to drop the price. I always stick with my guns. And if I say it confidently, it makes sense with what I'm presenting them. My service, my premium service, what I'm doing on their property, it makes sense for them to pay more because it's a better service. But I'm not over-promising because that's exactly what my technician is going to give them, exactly what I'm telling them. We're in a game of chances and opportunities. I tell my guys after training sessions and, I'm giving you this information and this training, it's going to give you the best opportunity and the best chance to get a sale. That doesn't always mean that it's a guarantee, because some guys get so hurt and so disgruntled that they get this training and they get certain tips and they go out and they kind of half do it, or they kind of just do a little bit of it and it doesn't give them the same result it's giving me. And again, it's made to give you the best opportunity, because you're not me, you're not Sam Taggart, you're not some of these other guys, so it is going to come across differently, but you're giving yourself the best opportunity and the best chance to get to that level. But it's up to you to take that advice and apply it at the highest level and your hardest ability to be able to do that. So one thing I think a lot of sales reps do, from what I've seen, is they will almost assume the business in a sense. I don't hear a lot of questions being asked as far as asking for the business and closing. And when I say closing, I mean asking for the business. So will you give me a chance? Will you give me a season? Will you try me out? Will you do whatever? To where each time I talk and every time I speak, I'm leaving the ball in the customer's court by asking them, will you give me a chance? So if they say, what's your name again? And I say, my name's Tristan, but if I did this, this, and this, will you give me a chance? Or where are you guys located again? We're located here, but will you give me a chance? I'm always flipping it back to make and force the customer to say yes or no to the service, so that I can get closer to that, them saying a yes or a no, and I can get to the next door.